Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, your go-to destination for unraveling the mysteries of cutting-edge technologies on Google Cloud. I am Mustafa, and today we will continue our journey into the heart of Google's Bigtable, the fully managed, scalable NoSQL powerhouse. Bigtable, which is Google fully managed and scalable NoSQL service, is your go-to solution for handling large volume of data seamlessly. It is perfect for storing information in a key value format. Bigtable caters for various needs, including personalization, ad tech, financial tech, digital media, and the Internet of Things. It boosts high read and write throughput with low latency, ensuring swift access to vast datasets for processing and analytics. Bigtable is specifically tailored for streaming data from sensors. Bigtable shines in managing high writes, capturing extensive real-time data effortlessly. Challenge Lab, you are given a set number of tasks to perform. These have all been covered in the quest Manage Bigtable on Google Cloud. You will not be given step-by-step instruction, but you'll be given certain directives which you must follow, such as naming of certain resources or some guidelines about how you would solve the problem. The content of this challenge lab will be most applicable to database administrators who have been tasked with setting up a new Bigtable database for their accompanying telemetry datasets. This lab is designed to test your ability and the ability of students who have completed the Manage Bigtable on Google Cloud Quest. So whether you are a beginner or a seasoned tech explorer, join us in this practical exploration of Bigtable's capability. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell as we tackle managing streaming data with Bigtable. Let's get started. As usual, we would start our lab by clicking on Start Lab. So you would open our lab in an incognito window. So after opening it, I'm going to grab my password with me. Click on Next and paste in my password here. And click I understand. So I'm just going to agree to the terms of service and click on agree and continue. Yeah, so this is our dashboard. And the first thing we are going to do is just some little house cleaning. Because we are going to be using Dataflow API, I can first confirm if my Dataflow API is enabled. So I can search for Dataflow API. So this part in the marketplace. So if it's enabled, I'm going to disable it and re-enable it because I just want to be sure that it's actually enabled. So I'll disable it, then I would enable it once again. So I've disabled it, then I'll enable it. Yeah, so I've enabled it once again and we should be good to go at the moment. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to check if my Compute Engine default service account has an editor access on this Qwiklabs project. So from the IAM under IAM admin for me, and this is the Compute Engine service account. You can see it here at search compute at developer.gserviceaccount.com, and you can see that it has an editor role, so which is typically what we need for this lab. And that's just some little house cleaning. So let's spin up our Cloud Shell and also configure some things in our Cloud Shell before we proceed. Yeah, continue. So we'd list the project ID and we'd list our active account name. So we'd wait for it to provision our Cloud Shell machine, and after that we'll connect to our Cloud Shell instance. So here we have the first thing we want to do is gcloud.list. So then we'll authorize this. So after authorize this, then we'll now use the gcloud config list project. So this is also our active project ID. This is our active account here. So I think we are good to go for now. So let's explore the instruction. Yeah, so here are the topics that are just tested or that would be tested on. Would create a new Bigtable instance, would create and populate Bigtable tables, would query data in Bigtable, would configure node autoscaling and replication in Bigtable, would backup and restore data in Bigtable, and finally would delete the Bigtable instance. So here are just some things that we've done. This is an high-level overview of the challenge scenario. You have been hired as a database engineer for an e-commerce company that is interested in personalized sales. The company is interested in Bigtable to store online user interaction with product and personalized recommendation from machine learning model. Your first assignment you have been tasked with setting up a Bigtable instance and table to store sample data for the user interaction with product and the personalized recommendation for each user so that your team can explore these ideas further. So you're expected to use the skill you have and the knowledge for these tasks. So there would not be step-by-step guides, as I've mentioned before. So unless otherwise instructed, you can use any workflow or tool to accomplish this task. You can decide to create your instance by using the command line. You can decide to use it by using the console. So feel free to use anyone that works for you. So for the task one, we have to create a new Bigtable instance. To create a new Bigtable instance, we'd go to from our navigation menu. We'd go to our Bigtable. So Bigtable is under database. We just go down. Here we have Bigtable here. Click on Bigtable. So I'm going to drag this down a little bit. So here we are on Bigtable. We'll create an instance. Grab the information for our instance. The name of our instance is e-commerce-recommendation. And the storage type we want to use is SSD. So let's paste the name of our instance here. We'll click on continue. After that, we'll choose our preferred storage type, which is SSD. So the region, they should give us a region. So our cluster ID is this. Let's grab this also. Cluster ID, yeah, is correct. You can just copy it. It's what we have. So for the region, we have to choose US East 5 and US East 5A. And we are using a minimum number of nodes for the autoscaling should be 1, maximum is 5, and utilization target is 60. So choose US East 5 here, and for the zone, we choose US East 5A. Would select autoscaling because we don't want to use a manual allocation. Our minimum should be 1 node, our maximum should be 5 nodes. So our CPU utilization is 60%. And our storage utilization is 2.5, just the default that is there. So you can click on create. So this should create our Bigtable instance for us. And our Bigtable instance is getting created here. So let's just wait a little bit till it's successful. So it's done. So the next thing we want to do now is, let's go to the next instruction. Let's check our progress and see if we are actually on the right track. So our progress is complete. For task 2, we want to create and populate Bigtable tables. So to create and populate a Bigtable tables, we have to first create the table. So after creating the table, we'll now attempt to populate that table with some existing data set that is hosted on a publicly accessible Google Cloud Storage bucket. So the name of our table should be session history. So under the instance, we'll click on the instance. So we'll create under our tables. So we have tables here. You can just click on tables. And let's create a table. So the table ID that we would have is session history. That's the name that they ask us to use for our table ID. And so looking at the kind of data set that we want to put into this table would influence the kind of column families that we are creating. So if you'd follow us when we were doing the previous lab, you'd know that for this table that it's defaulted here, that we are just seeing a preview of it, we have 2 column families. The first column family is engagement, and the columns under that column family named engagement are red skirt, red hat, and orange shoes. And we also have another column family called shoes, and the column that we have under it is sale. So we have the table name is session history, and the column families that I would be using here are engagement and sales. First one, engagement. Click on done. Add a new column family again. This one will be sales. Paste it here. Click on done. So these are the two column families that we have here, and we are using the default garbage collection policy. So we can just click on create. So the column family and the table should get created, and this is it here, the table session history. So that's regarding that. So now we can now go ahead and load data into our table that we've created. So to load data, I would be using a data flow job, and that is why we enabled the data flow API previously. So I'm going to duplicate these tags. I'm going to duplicate the tab, and I would explore creating a data flow job. So because we are using a sequence file, so this part here from the instruction, we are given a sequence file in this part. So we have to use a data flow template that can move sequence file to Bigtable. So let's go to our data flow job from the navigation menu under analytics. So you go down till you find analytics. And under analytics, we'll click on data flow. So after clicking on data flow, attempt to create the job from a template. So the job name, we'll look at the job name that has been prescribed for us. So the job name that we've been asked to use is import sessions. So we'll click on we use import sessions, and we can leave this regional endpoint, or we can just, yeah, you can leave this regional endpoint, it's fine. So the data flow template we'll be using, since we are using a sequence file, so we'll just search sequence file, and we have two of them here. So we have cloud Bigtable to sequence file on cloud storage. No, that's not how we are moving. So we are moving from sequence files on cloud storage to cloud Bigtable. So that's the part that we are going for. The sequence file that is given for us is already on a cloud storage bucket. So here are the parameters. So depending on the data flow template you are using would influence the kind of parameters that you are going to specify. So my project ID, I'm going to grab my project ID for this account. This is my project ID here. Copy it, paste it under this project ID. For the instance ID, I would look for my instance ID. So the instance ID they are referring to here is our Bigtable instance ID. So here is, we can get our Bigtable instance ID from here. This is our instance ID, e-commerce recommendation. Copy it and paste it in here also. And our table ID, so this is the Bigtable table that we are exporting the data to. So under our tables, we can also get our table. So, and the table ID that we are using here is session history. So you can copy it that way, so that is more easier. So our table name is session history. Let's grab that and also input that in the template. So the next thing we want to do is explore the path for our sequence file. So this is the path that was given to us here. We can just copy it and paste it there. So let's paste it here, and after pasting it, we have to remove the preceding GS hyphen and / because that was already pre-written for us. So, and you would see a check mark now which shows that the part that we actually set is correct. So you can see a check mark. So for the temporary location, before you can set this temporary location, you have to create a bucket by yourself on cloud storage buckets on Google Cloud Storage. So to do that, let me just duplicate this tab once again, duplicate the previous tab, and after duplicating that, I can navigate to cloud storage. So from here, let me just wait for this to get loaded. So let's navigate to cloud storage under buckets. So while we are on bucket, we would attempt to create a new bucket. and we would grab our project ID from here. So we are encouraged to use our project ID as the name of our bucket here as part of the lab requirements. But typically, just make sure that you use a globally unique name for your bucket. But for the sake of this challenge, you have to use your bucket name when you are creating. You have to use your project ID when you are creating the bucket name because it's also globally unique. So select a multi-region, and yeah, we'll just leave the other things as their default, and we are good to go. So it bring a pop-up that we should enforce public access prevention. So I'll confirm that I'm enforcing that, and it's going to create our bucket for us. So when our bucket is created, we are pretty good to go. We don't really need to do any other thing here. So we can just browse that particular bucket that we created just now. So let's browse it. So then I can click on select. After clicking on select, then I'll add a new path, which is /temp. So when I add /temp, this is also, you can see that it brings a check mark. So I'll just create like a temporary file here that Dataflow is going to temporarily write some data into those temp file at that particular time. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for now. And before we move forward, let's try to read what is in this data set. So it's a sequence file, so it will not make much of a sense, but let's attempt to read it. And you can also attempt to read some other files in this place. You can see that the one that is here is engagement sales, but it's a sequence file, so it's not really in a readable format. But I would attempt to read this recommendation and this one also, so you can see the kind of data that are in there. So to read files from a cloud storage bucket, you have to use from a publicly accessible cloud storage bucket. So you have to use a prefix here, and I have this prefix in this thing that I'm going to just save here. So I can copy this guy, and so this is representing the bucket name here. Can enter, and it would attempt to download the file for us, and you can see it's downloading and it's done already. So I can decide to click into this guy and see how the sequence file look like. So let's attempt to see that, and you can see these are the sequence file. So it's not in a readable format, it's just some random jargons in sequence file to the human eyes. So that's regarding this. So let's attempt to read another file that's more readable. And to read the CSV file, let's browse this thing. So we are seeing some of the things in this bucket. So I think we can read this one that is here. We can also read this one. Let's try to read the recommendation because it's the next thing we are going to attempt to upload. So would attempt to read this guy here, and to just attempt to read this guy, I can attempt to copy it. Retail underscore recommendation, retain hyphen recommendation and hyphen CSV. So let's click into it. Then I'll copy it and change it back. So like this is just like a demo, so that I can copy this part. So I'll change it back to what they asked us to use. So to attempt to download the document here, don't forget that I said we are removing from this bucket name. So let's clear this out, paste the new information there. So this is representing the bucket name, this is representing the bucket name, this is representing the folder, and this is representing the path to the file that we're interested in. So this as an extension, it's a CSV file, so we are showing the extension. So when I click on enter, it will also get downloaded, and I can click on save. Then I can attempt to open it. So when I open it also, you can see I'm seeing it here. So I would come back to this guy. Let's just continue, but this is just to show that you can download something from a publicly accessible bucket. Okay, so that's regarding that. Let's cancel out of this. Let's change this back to what we actually need, which is the one we are working on is interactions. Select that. So I would confirm, so that would be double sure. Don't want to do something that we're not supposed to do. But we are working with engagement rather. So let's change this guy back to engagement. Browse, change it to engagement. This one here, and click on select. Yeah, so that's fine for now, and that's pretty much it. Let's click on run the job. You can see that our job is now running, and this is the graph process of our job. So you can take a look at the job status here. So this is the name of the job. The status is still running, so it's still running at the moment. You can click into it to see the tree version of the job, and this is the tree version of the job here. So when it's successful, then we can now move to the next step. Yeah, so it's complete, and you can see that it's completed. So all the stages here have been completed, and we are now good to go. So let's see the next instruction. So we are good to go. So after loading the job, the first question that we have here is that which product was purchased during the session identified as this part. So this looks like a role key. So they are giving us a role key and they want us to identify the product that was purchased. So if you'd followed us when we were doing designing and creating and querying Bigtable schemas, we showed how to query a database using the role key. So, and I have the code also here that we can just grab along when we are doing this. So, and before we can begin running this command using the cloud shell, we have to prepare our cloud shell to interact with our Bigtable instance. So we have to prepare to interact with our Bigtable instance. So the first thing we have to do is we have to modify the cbt.rc file with our project ID in the cloud shell. So what that does is that the cbt, we use the cbt command when we're interacting in Bigtable. So we have to do some configurations under our cbt.rc file so that we don't have to specify the instance and we don't have to specify our Bigtable instance and our project ID anytime we are trying to interact with the cbt command. So that's why we are going to do some of the configurations here. So these are some of the things that we've also done in previous lab in relation to this particular quest. So for this, I'm just going to paste the command here, and after I paste the command here, so this value is going to by default get our project ID values, and it's going to save it under the name project. So let's click on enter. So, and it should have done that, and to confirm if we've done that, we would also run this command, cbt list instances. So when we put this command here, let's see, and you can see it has picked the instance. We only have one instance in our project at the moment, so it has picked the instance, the only one instance in our project, which is e-commerce recommendation, and it's showing here. So that's fine. If you add multiple instances, it would have showed for multiple instances here. So the next thing we want to do is let's also modify the cbt.rc file with our Bigtable instance ID. So let's confirm the instance ID that we are really interested in at the moment. So copy this command also, paste it here, and we'll now replace it with our instance ID. Don't forget our instance ID is still this one here. So this is our instance ID, e-commerce recommendation. Just going to copy it once again. I can just copy it from here. So this is important when you have multiple instances in your Bigtable command. So let's clear this out and choose the instance that we want here. So this is it. So we are saving this name under the instance here. So let's click enter, and it should also do that for us. And the next thing that we'll now do is we can now call the cat command to display all the informations in this .cbt.rc file. So paste this here, enter. You can see under the keyword project, we have our project ID here, and under the keyword instance, we have the name of our instance that we are using. So this is just some configuration that we've done on the cbt file, and we can now start querying our Bigtable from the cloud shell seamlessly. Informations on our table to get that specific role key, we can now run this command. But before we do that, let's list the available tables in our Bigtable instance. So when we paste this command here, cbtls, we can list the available tables, and we only have one table here at the moment, which is session history. So when you go to the tables here, you see that we only have one table. We've only created one table at this moment. We'll still create more tables along the line. So we have session history, and it's showing session history here. So let's query our table. Let's be sure if the data that we actually loaded got into the final destination like we want. So grab this command here. Grabbing the command, paste it here. Then we are going to replace our lookup table name with the table name that we're interested in. So our table name here is session history. So that's the name of our table. We can just grab it from here, copy our table name. So let's copy our table name from here, session history, and we'll paste it here now. So after pasting it here, we still have to, let me move this to the back. Yeah, so we still have to specify our row key, and the row key that they asked us to check from the question here is this. Let's go back to our question. Is this, so let's copy this now and we'll paste it here. So let's run this command and let's see what we get. Yeah, so these are the columns that is corresponding to this row key. So let's take a look at the question again. Which product was purchased during the session identified as this? So what we have to go and do is go and check the sales column and let's see the data that it got returned. So under sales we have red skirt. So the product that was purchased for this row key was red skirt. So red skirt and submit. So that's correct. So let's confirm our progress. So the next thing we want to go to is under the product recommendation. So we are also asked to store the product recommendation by user. And for that, we'd have to create a new table named personalized products. Then we'll now import this data into that particular table. So let's create a new table named personalized products. Just the same way we created the table the previous time using the Cloud Console. Under our, let's go back under our instances. So under tables, let's create a new table, and our table name is personalized products. So we also have some column families that we have to use here. So by looking at the preview of the data set in here, we can deduce the column family. The column family is a recommendation, and this is it here. So that's the column family, just one. And if you take a look at the data set that I downloaded before, that was the CSV file of this now sequence file. So this is the CSV file of this now sequence file. So you can see it here. We have the column family here, which is recommendation. We have columns inside that column family, which is recommendation 0, recommendation 1, recommendation 2, recommendation 3. This is a CSV file, that's why it's readable. Okay, so that's about that. So let's name our column family here. Column family is this, recommendations. Remove the white spaces. Then click on done. Then we can create our table once again. So our new table should get showed here, which is a personalized product. So we've created a new table. The next thing we want to do is we'll load a new data flow job to load data into this particular table once again. So let's go to our previous data flow job that we have here. So since it's a similar movement, I can decide to clone this previous job and just change some of the details that got changed here. So let's clone this same job, and what I'm just going to do is that the name would change. So the name I'm using for this one is import recommendation. So you can decide not to clone yours and do it from beginning again, it's also fine. So I'll just change the needed information here. We are still using the same data flow template. Our product ID remains the same, our instance ID remains the same. Our table ID will change because now we are loading into a new table. The table we are loading into now is personalized products. Copy it here, load into personalized product, and our source pattern will also change. Our source pattern here is retail recommendation 001. So we can browse that and pick the correct thing here. So retail recommendation 001, which is this one. Then let's select it. It's a sequence file. It's not the CSV, it's a sequence file here. So click on it, and this will still remain the same also. We are good to go here. Then we can attempt to, let me just see. Then we can attempt to create our data flow job. So just take a look at it once again. We've changed the required thing, we've changed the job name, we've changed the name of the table, and we've changed the source pattern. So the rest can remain the same. Then click on run job. So you'd notice that our new job will get created almost immediately. So view the details of our job from here. Just go back to the overview page, and we have the import recommendation here. So when you click on import recommendation, you'd see the graph of this job. So taking a look at the graph of this job, and it's in a running stage. So when it's get completed, we'll also explore the next task. So let's see, it's still in a running stage. I'll fast forward this and see at the end. Yes, so our job is also complete for this one, and we can continue exploring the next task. So for the next thing, for this one, they said which products were recommended to the user identify as green 4467. So this is also a row key, and we just have to use the previous command also and change the row key in this case. So let's go back to our Cloud Shell to see if this actually works. So after clearing this, let's copy the command from here once again. So copy it once again, and in this case now, you should expect that let's first change our row key. You should expect that our table name is going to change, because in this case now we are looking at a new table. So our row key here is this one, the one given to us from the instruction is green 4467. So let's pick that, replace this with green 4467. Then let's go change the table name. The table name we are concerned with here is personalized products. So click into personalized products and let's grab the table name. So when we grab the table name, we can paste the table name here, and let me take this guy back here, and I can click on enter. So let's see what it returns for us. So it has returned some things for us here. We have green jacket, green shoe, green dress, and green hat. So they want us to, which were recommended for the user. So we had green jackets, we had green shoe, we had green hat. So we have these two, and we did not have the rest. So this would be the answer: green jacket and green hat. And we click on submit, and that would be the final answer. So my tab is a little bit dormant at the moment, not sure what's going on, but these are the two answers. You can see that this green blouse and green backpack are not in this information here. So that's about that. Let's check our progress. Our progress is also complete, so I'm not sure why this is not clicking. Yeah, so the next thing we want to do is let's configure replication in Bigtable. So we replicate for various reasons. So we explained a little bit about replication under monitoring and managing Bigtable health and performance. So there's replication, and there's also restoring of backups. So when you replicate data, that means you'd create another copy of a particular data in maybe in a different cluster. Idea about replication, so that if one is down, you can fail over to another part. So that's the idea behind replication. If one of them is down, you can maybe fail over to the other one in the next place. So let's replicate our data to a new cluster. So the first thing we want to do is, and when we are replicating, we have to replicate an existing data. We can replicate an existing table into another cluster to create a new part of that data. Yeah, so to replicate, what we need to do is we would edit the instance and add another cluster in that particular instance. So let's copy this cluster ID with us. Let's go to our instance. This is our instance. Let's edit this instance. So while we are editing the instance, we'll edit it and create another, we'll add another cluster here. So the cluster would be named this. This is the name they want us to name it. So we'd create it in a we can have it in the same region, but in different zone in that region. So our normal region is here. So you can see that the region that we created, the first one, is blurred out. So we cannot select it. We have to select a different region. So let's select this one here. And we're also using an auto scaling, the same configuration like the previous one. 1 minimum and maximum of 5. CPU utilization target is 60. Storage utilization target is 2.5. We can click on add, and after clicking on add, we are good to go. We can click on save. So we've replicated the clusters now. So the next thing we want to do is we can now create a backup, and after creating a backup, we can restore the backup, something like that. So these are the two clusters ID that we have. You can see them here. Both of them are getting created. Yeah, so the next instruction, we can check our progress if we are good to go on the line. So we are good to go. So the next thing we want to do is backup and restore data in Bigtable. So let's back up our data, and the data we are backing up, the table we are backing up is personalized products. So the name of our backup ID will now be personalized products _7, and we are setting an expiration date of 1 week, which is 7 days. And so to do that, let's go to tables. So while we are on tables, we can now create backup. So we want to create a backup of this guy. So let's create backup. So this is our personalized, this is our table ID personalized product. The cluster, this is the cluster we are interested in because that is the cluster that houses our table. So for the backup ID, we are using personalized product underscore 7 and the expiration date is 7 days. Then we can click on create. And after clicking on create, it's going to create our backup for us. And you can see that this is the under backup. We only have one backup here, which is the backup that we created, personalized products. And that's regarding that. So we can now attempt to restore this backup. So let's restore the backup because that's the next task. And let's restore the backup that we created, and the name of the table that we are restoring from this backup would now be personalized product underscore 7 underscore restored. Yeah, so let's restore it. So the instance is this current instance, the table ID is this one, and we can now click on restore, and you can see that it's now showing. So if you look at the list of all the tables that we have, you see that we now have 3 tables. These are the first 2 tables that we have, personalized product and session history. This is the backup that we restored from this one. So this and this would typically be the same thing if the data is not a streaming data. But if the data is a streaming data, we are only going to get the data here as at the time that we created this backup. So that's regarding that, and that's pretty much it. So let's check our progress once again. We should be done now. We are correct. So for the last and final task is to delete our Bigtable data. So when you are deleting, you have to like delete from maybe let's say from bottom to top. So you have to delete from from individual resources before you now go to the resources that covers everything. So because like from top down we have the instance, under the instance we have different clusters. So we now have tables. Under the tables we have under the instances we now have tables. So when you're also deleting, you have to maybe delete from backups. So you have to first delete from backups before you can delete the tables. So let's first delete the backup that we have here. We've restored this backup already, so we can delete it. So let's delete the backup here. And after deleting the backup, we can now go ahead and delete the tables. So we can delete all these tables here one by one, or we can even attempt to delete the instance. So let's see if we can delete the instance directly. Let's see. But like if you are doing it for your personal project, you more often than not do it one by one because you don't want to delete what you are currently using. You can only delete what you are not using at the moment. But since I also want to delete everything, I can attempt if I can delete the instance at once so that all the tables inside a particular instance will get deleted, and I am able to do that. So I've deleted everything, and all my instance has been deleted, all the clusters in that instance has been deleted, all the tables in those instances have also been deleted. Yes, so that's typically it for now. So we've completed our required tasks, and thank you very much for staying through with me till the end of this quest. So we've completed our quest, and as we've completed our quest, you can go over each and every of the videos in this playlist and explore them once again to be sure that you fully grasp how to confidently manage your Bigtable on Google Cloud. And from that, we'd also explore some other labs or some other quests under our cloud database engineering track. So thank you very much for staying with me till the end of this playlist. And if you like this playlist, make sure you smash the like button, share it with your loved ones, subscribe to it, and comment your thoughts in the comment section, and let me know what you want me to work on next. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.